All right, little boo berries. This is the last lesson. It's Friday. It's Friday for you, not for me. Okay, inferencing. We've done this all year, boo-boos, and y'all are really good at it. Remember, it's what you read. You can say what you think. I can't draw a brain, so there it is. And you put it all together, and you come up with an inference. So that's what inference is. Remember, we've done this 100 million times. There's so many good inferences in this book that we could pick from, but I couldn't pick all of them, so I'm just picking a few for us to look at. And if you want to come up with some and email them to your teachers, that would be awesome. We would love to see that and hear that from you guys. Remember, inference is something that you read. You take the text that you read. You mix it up with what's already in your brain that you already know about, shake it all up, and you come up with an inference. And you have to prove them in the 5th grade. You know, we have to prove them because the state's kind of picky about that. So you can't just say something about somebody and just say, just because. Well, you have to prove it. You can't say, she's so mean. Well, okay, why? Tell me why she's mean. Give me evidence. So that's what I've done with a few of these little things. Like one of the things on the first page, whenever he's laying there and he's hurt, it says, I watched the sun edge towards the center of the sky as he's laying there. So that right there, we have to infer, what time of day is it? I watched the sun edge towards the center of the sky. We know, now we're taking what our background, we have the text, now let's take our background knowledge. We know that the sun goes to the center of the sky at about noontime. So we know as it's moving up, so he's laying there and he watched it edge towards the center of the sky. It's coming around towards noontime that he's laying there, and it is probably hot in Georgia. So that tells us it's noon. We made an inference. They didn't come out and say it's noon. They made us think about it. Something else that Momo Bay said to Pink. She said, you ain't never gonna leave your mama again, are you, child? She asked softly. And then Pincus looked troubled. What can we infer from that? That's the text. Our background knowledge tells us that Mama doesn't want him to go. What Mama does want her baby to go off to war. She don't want him to go. And when she says that, he can't answer her and say, no, Momo Bay, I'm not going. Instead, he just stands there and looks troubled. When you look troubled, usually something is wrong or you know you're going to make somebody unhappy. So we put those two things together, and what do we infer that he's thinking that's going to happen? Yeah, that he is going to leave. He is going to go back and fight. And he knows that's going to make her unhappy. That's why he looks troubled. So we can infer that he is going to go back. And does he? Yes. And then he's talking to, Pink and Say are talking. And Pink says, because it's my fight, Say, ain't it yours? And if we don't do it, who will? Well, that's what the text says. What do we know? When Pink says it's my fight. Well, we know Pink is a black guy, and it's about the Civil War. It's about slavery. So that lets us know, okay, he is personalizing this and say it's his fight. But what can we infer when he says, isn't it yours too? That it is your fight too. It's everybody's fight. So that's what we inferred from it. And then one of the things that Pink says is, I blessed this house for all these beautiful books, but I cursed it too for what it stood for. What can we infer about that? He's talking about Master Ali's house. Well, it says that he blessed it because, one, he was a slave and he learned to read in that house. Master Ali taught him how to read, so he's grateful for that. And then it says, but I cursed it for what it stood for. So how can you be happy and not like something at the same time? Well, maybe because it stood for two different things. What is he cursing it for? What does he not like about it? Well, it's a master's plantation house. That's what he hates it for. He curses it for because he had slaves, and among the slaves were his mom and his dad. So we put all that together, and that's what we come up with. That's why he cursed it. There's so many in here that you can come up with, so many inferences that you can come up with in this book. Like I said, if you come up with some and you want to write them down and send to us, write them down and send to us. I would love to read them. I would love to see them. I think that would be awesome. Okay, so our last thing that you're going to do is you're going to come up with some kind of an inference about your person. Something like, let's say you picked Albert Einstein as your person that you're writing about. You need to write an inference about Albert Einstein. Something that we can come up with. Like, I can infer that he loved probably his science class. Probably didn't like PE too much because he was probably one of those brainy, sciencey guys. I could be wrong. Just kind of an inference about your person that you can write down at the bottom, or what I could infer about Elvis Presley. I might infer that he loved music because obviously he's a musician, and if he hadn't have died, would he have gone on maybe singing and enjoying playing his music? I can infer maybe he probably would have if he wouldn't have died. So whoever your person is, if it's your grandfather and he fought in a World War or Vietnam or Korea or Afghanistan, we can probably infer that they're probably pretty patriotic. You can probably write that. Okay, I just wanted to give you some ideas. So on your last one of your paper right here, we're going to add inference to it. Now, if you have some space over here, because you've already got pictures about you, you've got pictures about your person and sections of their life, and you've written the plot. You told me about the person, the setting, where and when did this person live, and what effect did that have on your person and what they did. Some character traits with evidence of your character. Some figurative language where you've described your character using figurative language, and then maybe now you've made an inference about your person that you've done. So if you want to draw over here something, if you have room, like I had room, you can draw whatever you want. Maybe it's you and your person together. Even if they're not alive, you can maybe draw a picture of what it would have been like if you met them. Or if you want to, since we're doing all this internet stuff, and been on the computer a lot, you could print out some pictures of that person and put them on there. That might be kind of cool. Like we did Jacques Cousteau. We read about Jacques Cousteau, remember? The guy that made all the kind of underwater equipment, and he wrote books and stuff and taught people about it, about conservation. So if you want to do that, you can print out some pictures and put those on there. That'd be awesome. Whatever you want to do. But remember, try to share it with us, so we can be sure we can share it with everybody else. So remember, guys, Pink and Say, you can read it over and over again. Plot is what the story is about. Setting is when and where it happens. Character traits are what make us who we are, not on the outside. Figurative language makes you have a visual image of the story, have good imagery of it when you read it. And inferences is what we already know in our head, put together with what we read, and we come up with a thought. So we have learned or reviewed all those skills this week that you already knew. And y'all have done a great job. I love seeing y'all in Hangouts. I love being with y'all and talking to y'all. So talk back to us. Email us back. Answer us in Google Classroom. Do whatever you want to do to get a hold of us, because we're here for you guys. And we'll be together soon enough. Just stay well. Help your mom and dad. And remember that we love y'all very much. And we are thinking about you and doing our best to make sure that you learn things and have interesting things to do while you're at home. We love you guys, and y'all hang in there. See you at Hangouts. Bye.